Welcome back to the shop, guys. Welcome to a new video. Last time we worked on the rocker panel. This time we will work on the other rocker panel. The first one was for learning. This one is for mastery, to make it really good. Well, let's say, make it good enough, make it work, okay? But before we go into the nitty-gritty details, let's have a little snap back to reality. In 2026, building old GDM legends like this is not as simple as it once was. Genuine parts are hard to come by and are prohibitively expensive. And most of the parts you now can get come from places on the map that you can't even pinpoint where they are. And they are a copy of a copy of a copy. Don't get me wrong, they're still expensive, but they don't fit very well and you have to make do. As you have seen in the last video, the rear wide arches won't fit at all, so I had to order new ones, and this time they don't come from Poland, they don't even come from Russia, they come from Kazakhstan. So yeah, let that sink in, and while you let that sink in, I will wait for the parts. For a week, for a month, for half a year. I don't know when they will arrive. I don't know if they arrive. Enough of the overthinking, enough of the analysis paralysis. We are wiping it down, we are marking the lines, and then we're gonna cut it out.
Or have we both moved on to different names?
Now that the fender has been evicted, it's time for some surgical precision. Usually, when I'm in a garage, this tends to involve brute force. But today, we're being sophisticated. I'm wrapping the doors in this clear film and the sills in blue tape. It looks like I'm gift wrapping a Subaru-shaped disaster. But it's actually about survival. Protecting the paint is boring, but essential. Every line I draw here is the boundary between restoration and accidental destruction. It's tedious, it's slow, and it's exactly the kind of job a man with a spreadsheet and a very neat beard would love. But I have to pretend to be civilized. At least until the tape is on and I can finally switch back to a tool that needs no introduction. The hammer. This is it, the point of no return. You can spend days measuring, taping and pretending you're a scientist, but eventually you have to stop being careful and start being destructive. That first cut into the sill is always the hardest, not because the metal is tough. It's mostly rust and prayers at this point, but because once you start, there's no undo button. You're committed to the surgery, whether the patient survives it or not.
The first layer is off, and even though the rust only looks like it is on the underside, it's always good to cut out more than you need, because rust most of the time is more than you can see. And as you guys can hopefully see here, we need to cut out a lot more just to get access to the rust.
A few moments later.
And now that the next sheet metal is out, you can see the Complete destruction. Or let's rather say you can see a little bit more, because there's even more hiding after that. So let's go on with cutting.
When I said cutting, I might have been using a slightly more liberal definition of the word. In Subaru language, sometimes you don't cut, you negotiate. And I am now currently having a very heated negotiation with a stubborn piece of metal. Once the negotiations are over, you bring in the surgical tools. Well, the small ones at least. It's like using a scalpel after you've just used a wrecking ball. But eventually, you realize that small tools are for small problems. And this is a 20-year-old Japanese rust catastrophe. It's a big problem. It needs a big tool. It's time for the heavy artillery. There's a certain beauty in watching 20 years of rust being vaporized into orange streaks of light. It's not just repair work. It's a Viking funeral for the outer sill. By the time the air cleans, we'll either have a clean slate to weld on, or I'll be looking at the garage floor through the back seat, because there's nothing left to hold the car together. Most of the rust holes on the sill are gone by now. In other news, so's most of the sill, if not all. Anyway, here's me ranting about yet another problem.
Back in the day, it was far easier to whitebody a Subaru. You would order parts from UK or Japan. They would arrive in a week or two. That's it. Nowadays, everything takes a little bit longer. Parts for these old cars now come from Poland, Russia, or even, in this case, Kazakhstan. And everything takes ages. If, and only if it arrives, the quality is nowhere near what was promised. And it's not even cheap, nor is it as good as it was back in the day. And that simply sucks. But we gotta do what we gotta do. So back to the rusty rocker panel. And here, ladies and gentlemen, we have the benefits of CAD, cardboard aided design. The template from the other side, I've shown you in the last video, can be switched up or around to the other side. And et voila, it fits. One major issue, I cut this side a little bit too wide. So, okay, I have to make the sheet metal a few centimeters longer, but that shouldn't be a big problem. I hope so. And that's how it will look from the inside. And now, lo and behold, compared to the side that's already done, looks quite similar, doesn't it? CAD. Magic. It works. Oh yeah, that's rust. Please ignore that. We cut out as much as possible for now. Everything that now remains will only be cut out partially. So we take a good old bottle of Brunox to deactivate the rust.
Actually, sorry to interrupt myself for a second here. There's a German proverb, viel hilft viel, which roughly translates to a lot helps a lot. That's German efficiency for you right there.
But it smells horrible and it stains. Those in between you guys that know Brunox know that this is far too much. But hey, better safe than sorry, I guess.
Now look closely as the color slowly changes and the Brunox does its magic. We are officially turning back the clock.
So that's where we are now, guys. One rocker panel done, one rocker panel down to go. And a lot of frustration. Building cars, restoring cars like these, at least for me, it's not about the welding or grinding or even the painting. It's about the frustration, about the setbacks you have those cars. Fake parts, late arrival of parts, maybe never arrival of parts, no arrival of parts, and bad fitting parts. It sucks, it's slow, and it's expensive. But this STI will go back on the road, one way or another. It's about how often you can stand up again and say, one more time, I can do it. And this is such a thing, and I will do it. If you have ever dealt with the same part ordering nightmare or dealt with rust in a similar magnitude, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your story. As always, guys, thank you for watching Motor Fanatics. Don't forget to subscribe to see if we can really make a white body out of this heap of rust, or if we put it back into the lake in which we found it, next to the sword. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Let's be honest here. Strange woman lying in lakes distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. And it's certainly no way to distribute a car.